All right, so you have already gone through the step of removing the numbers and have the student explaining to you what's going on in this problem. So at this point, you and the student should have discussed that there were some students at a school, there were some students who moved away, and then there were some students who moved in. And so we had some students, a few went away, some moved back in, and how many students are there all together at the end. So your student should have that understanding first. You should not be telling them that they're going to subtract and then they're going to add. They should be figuring that out with you talking together. And once you do that, some students are going to be able to use that empty number line or use the number line to figure this out. Some people are going to be able to just write that standard algorithm for subtraction, that vertical algorithm, and regroup and be able to do that. And some kids are going to need to count out that 253 and then subtract out the 64 and then add in the 16. Now, we don't want to do that with a whole bunch of ones. That's going to take forever. And it doesn't build our understanding of the written form of 253. And so we're going to use these manipulatives. And we're going to look at the 2 and stand what place is the 2 in. The 2 is in the hundreds place, so we need 2 hundreds. And if you need to get out a hundreds chart to do this, or a chart of place value chart, then go ahead and do that. Do what you need to do. We want our kids working with grade level content. And if we need to use manipulatives to get to that grade level content, if we need to use a place value chart to get to that grade level content, that's okay. If there's still a counter, but they're working with two-step subtraction addition problems with regrouping, then you do what you need to do to help them get to that. And so I only have 5 minutes on this video, so I don't have enough time to go through everything without running out of time. But what you're going to do is they need to take away 64, and so they're going to see, okay, 64, I need to take away 4 ones, I only have 3 ones. And so you're going to have them put enough ones on there to replace this and count that there's 10 ones on here. And then you can slide this off and they can see that 10 ones that are still there. And then they can take away their 4 ones and have those 9 ones left when they're done there. The same with their hundreds. When they get their 4 ones that they've taken away over here, then they need to take away their 6 tens, but they're only going to have 4 tens. So they're going to put their tens, as many tens as they need, to cover up this hundreds piece. And of course, they need 10 tens. I don't know why I said however many tens. They need 10 tens. And they're going to count those out when they put them on there. And when they see that it's all covered, that was enough to completely cover it, you take away that 100 and you're leaving those 10 tens behind. And then they can go ahead and take away their 6 tens. Again, I'm not doing this accurately because I'm trying to get done within 5 minutes. And when they're finished, they need to go ahead, and you can do this to start out with, but you can annotate what they did with an equation, building to the expectation that they're going to be able to do that eventually. So 253 is what we started out with, but we had to take one of our tens, so we only had 4 tens, and turn that into 10 ones, so we had 13 ones. And we had 200, but we had to take one of those hundreds away to make 10 tens, so we ended up with 14 tens. And so our 283 is 114 tens and 13 ones. And we subtracted 64 from that. And when they did that, they can count what was left. They had 9 ones left. They had 8 tens left. They had 100 left. And that equals 189. And then they can add back in their 16 now. So they can put up their 16 and their 110 and their 6 ones and count that. And you're going to do it this way for as long as they need to do it this way. Our tendency is to want to kind of rush the process to say, oh, I showed this to them 3-4 times. We've done this 3 or 4 days. They must have internalized it by now, and I can skip this process. You can't until they get sick of it. When they start to understand it and they'll realize, oh, I see what's going on, I can do this more quickly, they'll tell you, why don't we just do this? If they're not telling you, don't move on.